Well, the last question I asked was what time General Khan was shot, or is supposed to have been shot. You said around 11:30. Was it not, in fact, earlier than that?
Chairperson, I have not spoken with the police, neither have I seen any of their investigations. You will remember that I bent over to my attorney and asked him, and that is what was communicated to me. So,
oh my God,
independently, I'm unable to answer that question.
Somebody took my laptop and my copy of the transcript. Oh gosh. Yeah, perhaps. But before we stand down waiting for my laptop, you may counter this if you want to end, indeed, as you are free to, or at liberty to. I have here something posted by Mr. Bule Lichwidi Jones of ENCA on X. I assume that a tweet is still a tweet, it's not an X, even though the platform is now X. And it says, at ENCA, and then arrived on the scene around 23:18. The incident happened just after 2300 hours, we are told. But what's important is he's already there. He's there at 23:18, so obviously before past. And he says he's told that the incident happened at 2300 hours. Would you have a basis for saying that that is not so?
No, I was not at the scene. I was informed much later, and I did not arrive at the scene.
No, I'm asking a different question.
I don't have a basis.
You would not be able to say that is not correct.
I'm not able to.
You are not able to say so. All right. Now, here's my difficulty. You suggest in the interview, you mentioned the unfortunate death, obviously there, even though you don't mention the name, it's obviously a reference to witness D or Mr. Marius van der Merwe. You say a witness that testified at the commission has passed on, and you then mention the fact that the application was saved, and then you suggest that there is or must be a leak within the commission. Everything looked at in context, you are suggesting that General Khan may well have been shot as a result of that leak. Because if you are not suggesting that, why else mention this? Am I interpreting your response correctly?
No.
Please tell me what your interpretation is. Why would you have mentioned the leak or the possible leak, and why would you have mentioned the death of Mr. Marius van der Merwe?
Yes. So your Chairperson and Honorable Commissioners, you will notice from this transcript that was just provided to me, and I don't doubt its authenticity, that at the beginning of the transcript, I indicated that I'm reading a statement on behalf of the family. Present with me was my attorney and members of the family standing around, and I was instructed to read the statement. I had also obtained my impressions of that morning and the concerns, and I place it in context, from the family. Now, the context of that morning were, and and these are also my experiences when I arrived at the hospital, that there were members of various different units at the hospital attempting to get access to General Khan to confirm whether he is in fact seriously injured or what circumstances are. But then turning specifically to the question itself, which appears at page 7 of the transcript, and if I may read it for us, Ms. Ngobo says the following, and in fact, maybe I should pause because you referenced something about Mr. Pule. I have not spoken with Mr. Pule, but that's a separate issue.
That's just for timing, and I'm still
Yes.
to zoom in on that. I'm
Yes.
still to zoom in on that.
So, Ms. Ngobo says, because the impression that I am getting now is that immediately after you delivered papers to the Madlanga Commission, this happened. In other words, that affidavit firstly would implicate possible other high-ranking officials, which would then by implication to an extent mean that perhaps you also would have a leak of some sort, either on your side or maybe on the Commission side. My answer to that, sorry, let me finish it. Am I misunderstanding the way that this has been framed? My answer to that, well, at this point, it is speculative. And the speculation that I receive is from the information from the family expressing their concerns that morning in respect of a man that is shot, that is in ICU, and that is being rumored to be losing his life. I say further, it is speculative, but we do have concerns. Now, the concerns that I'm speaking about are based on the following, amongst others, and I'm again cautious to speak in the media. The question was, is there a leak on your side or a leak in the Commission? And I say it is speculative, but we have concerns. And we do, in fact, have concerns about leaks on our side. We also have concerns that have been expressed to us, for example, that, and I'm traversing other issues such as the police raid at the premises of General Khan, that the media were in fact there before the police arrived. One person who appeared before the Commission has already been murdered. This is something, and it appears elsewhere in this report, and it's also reported by the different journalists. Did General Khan fear for his life? He communicated directly to me and my attorney seated next to me that in light of all of these events, and he specifically mentioned the murder of somebody that appeared before the Commission, that he feared for himself. And you'll see in this report, I say, he used different vehicles, he took different routes, and he consulted his legal team at different locations. I go on to say there had been an attempt on General Khan's life as he was to appear before the Commission, and there is grave concern that there might be a compromise within the Commission. General Khan had expressed to my attorney and myself that in fact his team was the unit that did the security services for the Commission itself. Now, this is not to say, and I say this unqualifiedly, that this is not to say that there is a leak within the commissioners, within the evidence leaders, but there are police officers involved in these incidences that General Khan was concerned about. And that concern was carried over by his family to the police trying to get access to him on the morning of the incident. But lastly, I say, and I qualify this, but at this stage it is speculative, it is speculated by the family, if that assists, Commissioner.
You see, this is not only about what you intended to convey, but it is also about how reasonable listeners would have understood this. You are saying this in the context of General Khan having been shot. And in that context, you mention leaks or compromise. Or what did you mean by compromise? I understood it and I believe myself to be a reasonable listener, I understood you to be referring to leaks from or by the commission.
Absolutely not.
And I also understood that to go back to the context in which General Khan was shot. So all of that, when you look at it holistically, it suggests that we served the commission late last night. He gets shot after service of the documents, and there are leaks within the commission. When you look at the totality of all that, it does suggest, or it may reasonably suggest to a reasonable listener, that you are basically saying that as a result of the leak, General Khan, or rather, General Khan may well have been shot as a result of the leak from the commission. That would, or that's a possible way in which a reasonable listener would have understood what you said.
May I reply?
Yes.
I unqualifiedly, before you and the media, say that that is not my instructions, and that is most certainly not what I intended to communicate to the media with my attorney and family members of General Khan present.
Thank you. May I say this then? If you are ever to make media briefings again, be careful of what you say and don't say anything that may tend to impugn the integrity of this commission. You should be very careful about that.
I note what you said.
Are you within what's colloquially referred to as the organized bar, or are you a so-called independent?
Organized bar.
Organized bar. Well, as I know them, having been a member of the so-called organized bar for many, many years, there was, I'm not saying there should still be, because even within the bar sometimes there may be disagreement, but there was a rule that said members of the bar can only go out to the media, be interviewed, and make statements to the media after having received permission from their bar. Otherwise, you don't just go out there and make. I repeat, I'm not saying that that rule should still continue to exist. Perhaps some might even say, does that not infringe the right to freedom of expression, and so on and so on. But the point I make is, if that rule still exists, and without it having been removed from the rules of the so-called organized bar, I wonder whether you got the permission, or if you didn't, what your basis for engaging in this in the first place was. But anyway, that's not for me. I'm just stating that. That's how, as someone who once was a practitioner, that's how I know the rules to have been. I don't know if they still are. Anyway, you have said that that was not your intention, and I've already admonished you never ever to make statements that may tend to impugn the integrity of the commission. Let me move on to a second issue. I'm trying to find the page number. Anyway, let me just read this. You say there has been some contact with the Madlanga Commission, and we understand that they have directed representatives to arrive at the hospital to confirm that General Khan has in fact been shot, or alternatively whether this is something less serious than what it is made out to be. Who is supposed to have given this directive?
My attorney is looking for the correspondence right now.
All right, all right.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes,
Chairperson.
yes.
My attorney has instructed me in relation to this, and of course, the comment that I made is what I was instructed and obtained from my attorney. He refreshes my memory that there was correspondence on the morning, which is, I think it's the 29th of June, 2026, from the Commission's attorney, Diale, in which they seek information. We request that you urgently inform the Commission of the facts within your knowledge concerning the incident, including the extent and nature of the injuries and the expected period of recovery. They then go on to say, also provide the Commission with a medical report from Major General Khan's attending physician. When I got to the hospital, I was instructed by my attorney and also advised by members of the police that were present at the scene, as well as members of the family, that persons had arrived at the reception area at the hospital, indicating that they were from the Madlanga Commission and that they wanted to interview General Khan. We also engaged with the security provided by the medical facility, indicating that they had resisted attempts by police and media, and I believe, if I recollect correctly, people saying that they are from the Madlanga Commission and wanting to get into the ward.
This is something quite serious because once I became aware of this and that there was a directive of that nature would only have come from me, I gave no such directive. And I asked around amongst all senior functionaries within the commission if they knew anything about that. And the response I got was that nobody knew anything about this. So what you are saying now comes as a surprise to me. And it's quite serious, actually, because it suggests the possibility that some people may have gone to the hospital and wrongly presented themselves as coming from the commission. Are you able to give us the supposed timing of this?
We will attempt to get the information and present it to you. My attorney is with me. My attorney asked for permission to address you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, we shared your concern at the morning, on the morning just after the shooting. Now, I was present shortly after the shooting at the hospital because when I received the call, it was approximately around 11:30 the evening after General Khan had left my offices. We weren't entirely sure that there was in fact a shooting, so I responded to the scene. By the time that I arrived there, General Khan had already been evacuated to Mill Park Hospital. I then made my way there. Now, there was lots of things happening. There were lots of people around, but at the very least, we knew that General Khan was in safe care because he was in a restricted ward. I believe it's the emergency ward. And people are not usually permitted access to come and see the patient except in certain limited circumstances. When I arrived the next morning, that was purely out of concern to come and see the condition of General Khan so that we can anticipate what is going to occur when we come and appear at the Commission today. En route to the hospital, I received several calls, firstly from family members, secondly from hospital management staff, and thirdly from people that I had asked to go and be present because I couldn't make it early enough for lack of sleep. And there was, call it a unified response from all three parties that I had interacted with, that there were many persons claiming to be members of the South African police, some who claimed that they were authorized by the Madlanga Commission to come and determine what General's medical condition was. Our impression from that was that there was an acceptance or perhaps a view that General wasn't in fact shot, and all of this was simply a red herring created or crafted in order to avoid having to testify at the Commission today. There were persons of the police who claimed to be from the PKTT as well. Another faction of police came from DPC. I believe that's the Provincial Commissioner's Office. And there were also policemen from the Norwood Police Station. Now, we are receiving, or we're confronted with this assault of persons demanding that they have an audience and that they be permitted access to General Khan's condition. So we simply put in a blanket policy to say, let hospital management intervene in order to stop all of this, because we need to sort the wheat from the chaff. We need to know who's authorized to be there, who's not authorized to be there, and whether or not they are willing to demonstrate any identity that allows us to confirm or refute that they are in fact SEPS personnel. What I'm trying to say, Chair, is that we were unable to determine who was making which allegation, but I can confirm now that there was a party claiming to be police personnel who attended at the hospital and tried to portray that they entered under cover of this Commission's permission to come and determine General Khan's physical state. I think that may satisfy your question, Chair. If there's anything else, I'm happy to remain on the mic.
And did you tell Advocate Khan that the people who did this were either police or people who presented themselves as police? Did you tell Advocate Khan that?
Well, the message that I had expressed to General Advocate Khan
Yes.
was that we are uncertain who is police and who is not. But one of the parties who claimed to be police said that they are authorized by the Madlanga Commission to be at the hospital, to extract documents, to have access to his medical file, and to physically look at General Khan's physical appearance.
For purposes of the transcript, can you please state your full names for the record?
Thank you. I'm Mohammed Veli. I'm General Khan's attorney of record in this and other proceedings.
Yes, thank you. I must tell you outright that there is no way that I or the Commission would ever send police to go check on anybody who say is in hospital. That just cannot happen. And I would imagine that anybody applying their minds closely and carefully should realize that we would never do that as a Commission. I mean, we have so many functionaries within this Commission, so many.
Yes.
We have what? How many evidence leaders now? 9, 8, give or take, evidence leaders, some of them quite senior. We have a chief investigator who's assisted by 4 or 5 other investigators. We have our Commission secretary. We have the Commission's spokesperson. I think I've mentioned all the senior functionaries. I hope I have. If we were ever minded to do any such thing, we have never done it before. There's correspondence between the attorneys on the other side the commission's attorneys indicate what they want to do, for example, which is what happened with another witness who has medical problems. There's that engagement. And even there are instances of hospitalization. The commission has never just pounced on that that witness at hospital. It has never happened. So coming back to you, Mr. Khan, I find it very strange that on something so nebulous, you could have gone out to the media and said, you understand, I think that's the word you use, that there's a directive from the commission for people to go check on General Khan, to check on the various aspects that you itemized in that media interview. How you could do that on something so nebulous, it just escapes me altogether.
Chair, you would recall
Sorry,
earlier
General,
this-
maybe, sorry, Mr. Khan, maybe before you respond, let me add this to this conversation that you made. I think it's important that you clarify it in your response. In fact, in that part of the transcript, you said there has been some contact with the Madlanga Commission. Now, that's not true unless your attorney has been in touch on this topic, because I'm reading at page 8, right at the bottom. You say there has been some contact with the Madlanga Commission, and we understand that they have directed representatives to arrive. A reading of that, in fact, understanding, having followed that interview, it represented that you or your attorney or somebody has spoken to the Commission representatives, and they've understood, and from that, they understand that the Commission intends to send people to go and verify the truthfulness of what was reported in the media. And it is important that you clarify whether there was such a contact with the Commission.
My attorney asks to address this.
Yes, he may.
Yes, Mr. Valley.
Thank you, Chair, Madam Commissioner. Yes, indeed. On the morning, while we were trying to clarify the role of the SEPS members that we found at the hospital when we arrived, Ms. Wilsnach, the Commission's attorney, had contacted me telephonically on my mobile phone, and she had indicated that correspondence would be sent addressing the issue. And I think that's what
that's the correspondence. That's the correspondence Mr. Khan read from.
Correct.
All
That
right.
is indeed.
Please continue.
Thank you. So I can confirm that there was in fact correspondence, or at least a discussion, on the very issue of that morning's occurrences with Ms. Wilsnach and myself.
But the context was totally different. It had nothing to do with a directive by the commission after General Khan had been shot. So to refer to that, yes, to refer to this contact with the Madlanga Commission on something that had happened in the morning, and which had nothing to do whatsoever with the visit to the hospital on the commission's directive. It just doesn't make sense, because it's all part of the same sentence.
Yes.
It's all part of the same sentence.
We appreciate that, Mr. Chair, but Mr. Chair must also consider from our perspective, we are confronted with these competing versions of various members of SEPS, in essence assaulting us with their justifications to be there and to be made privy to information which is otherwise confidential. And things happened very quickly thereafter. So to the extent that there may have been an impression or a misrepresentation made, we apologize. We're not trying to impute anything that this commission may have done wrong.
No, you are. You are imputing a directive by this commission that people sent by the commission must go to the hospital with the purpose of establishing all of the things that Mr. Khan said to the interviewer, Mr. Zianda Ngobo of Newsroom Africa. You are imputing something, so please don't even begin to say you are not imputing anything. Please, please.
Chair, I'll leave it at that. I will not.
Thank you.
take it
Thank you. Yes,
Thank
I will come to you, Ms. Hassim. Yes, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to clarify. You will see from what I say.
Yes, I had asked a question to which there has been no response. I said, how could you have said this based on the nebulous information that has been placed before us now? How could you have said this publicly for all of South Africa to hear based on this very nebulous information? How could you?
Thank you for the opportunity. Chair, you will recall that on the morning, the hospital was full of police from different units, as indicated to you. We are communicating with the family. We are attempting to get information from the doctors. I'm taking instruction from my attorney. And hence I say, we understand that they have been directed, that they have directed representatives. I don't say they have. That is simply the understanding that is conferred upon us. Now, I'm getting this information from multiple sources. The hospital manager, my attorney, the family members. When I was at reception myself waiting to gain entry and I was refused, there were policemen that arrived at reception wanting entry on behalf of the commission. So when I report this, that we understand that they have been directed by the Madlanga Commission, I'm certainly not saying at that point in time that the Madlanga Commission did this. We're saying we understand, and we're getting this information from people that are arriving there. And Chair, you will recall.
You just articulate this understanding again, because I just felt that it doesn't convey what I'm seeing here. Just articulate your understanding.
So when I say we understand that they directed representatives to arrive at the hospital, I am getting this information from my attorney, from the family who have been there all night, with repeated swathes of policemen getting there, trying to have themselves access the hospital wards. We interacted with the hospital manager in respect of security from the hospital side. And of course, I had my own observations at the reception area.
So once somebody says they come from the Madlanga Commission, you simply accept that and publicize it without any question, without even seeking to establish its authenticity. You just go out there publicly and you say something like this about the commission.
Chair, we understand criticism that is being leveled at us, but these were all qualified as speculative. We are informed, we are told. This isn't the first morning.
Yes, there was speculative, I think twice with regard to the first aspect I engaged you on. I do not see speculative here.
But I say we understand.
What difference does that make?
Well, the person applying their mind evenly to this thing will certainly understand that this is not concrete information. It's our understanding that's being conveyed.
You see the meaning you want to convey would apply to this or make sense if this was what you had said. And we understand that there were people who claimed to be representatives of the commission. Because I understand you to be making the point that I've just made. That is not what you said.
I respect
that is definitely not what you said.
I respect and accept your correction of what I intended to say. Certainly, I intended to say exactly what you've said at this moment.
Unfortunately, you did not.
Unfortunately, I did not.
You conveyed something negative about the commission.
In the moment, on live TV, with my attorney next to me, with multiple interviewers, it is unfortunate. And if there is any misapprehension or ambiguity
let me not accept that there is. Let me just say, you stated something wrong about the commission. If you want to say misapprehension, it must come from you, but you stated something wrong about the commission, yes.
Unreservedly, I apologize to the Commission. I see that it is open to multiple interpretations, and I apologize unreservedly.
Thank you. Ms. Hassim, it was indicated to me whilst I was looking that way that you wanted to say something, please.
Chair, in fact, at the point at which I was going to intervene, I was going to say that I don't need to be as restrained as the commissioners perhaps need to be in addressing this issue that the chair has raised. But then you went on. And there are a couple of things that I must put on record from the perspective of the evidence leaders. This communication in the public with the media is of great concern to us because it does bring the work of the Commission into disrepute. There can be no doubt about the impression that's created by these kind of remarks. Now, on this last point, on the first point, which is that the leak, the point of the leak, the answer, the prudent response would have been, I will not speculate, full stop.
I said I was going to come to the timing. I forgot, but let me leave it now. I think we've debated it, and Mr. Khan has tendered an unreserved apology, I think, in respect of both issues that I raised with you.
I confirm that.
Thank you.